Hi friends, Cole here. Thank you so much for joining me. And today wanted to do a little hip and hamstring opening. So we're gonna get into and flush out some of the adhesion and tightness, stickiness that gets stuck in our hamstrings and our hips. So we'll do a little wiggle, work with our breath, and see if we can find a bit of space. So, yeah, thanks for joining me. Go ahead and close your eyes wherever you're sitting, either if legs crossed or sitting up on your heels, and just take a moment to come down from the mind into the body. We live so much up buzzing in our brain all the time. And we get so conditioned to be up there ruminating, thinking about the past or the future, that we begin to get disconnected over the years from our body in order to realize where we're stuck, where we're tight, where we're holding. We're highly adaptable, which is good in so many ways. It's a survival technique, and it's been a very successful one for the human species. But when we adapt, we also adapt to injury, we adapt to pain, we adapt to emotional pain as well, to where things become normalized and minimized. So you may notice that somewhere in your life, in your relationships. But we can also think about it in terms of our body and on our yoga mat as well. Maybe we have a nagging pain somewhere, our body's sending us messages to give some attention somewhere, but we don't have time to worry about it, or we don't have time to send breath to it or to stretch. Or whatever it is that we're needing to do to find some relief, we just push through and we adapt to it. And it may get us a little farther along in some ways, but not necessarily sustainable. So we want to open back up that connection between the mind and the body, because it is connected. We want to open back up that telecommunication and those wires. So begin to feel in more, listen deeper. So I invite you to deeper listening. Maybe we have deeper listening of our body in this practice and onward. And we can do that by training our mind to ease, to settle, so we can listen a little bit more, and not to let this be another place to shame ourselves, because we all have monkey minds, but just incrementally that we can listen a little bit more, until we get to know ourselves a little bit better. Awesome. Let's start in Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together, knees wide, and we'll take the hands to the ankles. We'll just begin to do some spiral, so we'll get a little nice opening in the back, as well as getting into the groin here. And a bit of cat and cow. Beautiful. So, right leg forward. Let's start here. Flex the toes back, and we're going to take half shoelace, it's called, or also half Gomukhasana. So you can take full Gomukhasana if you would like, and that is when we have both knees stacked on top of one another. But I'm really liking this variation with one leg, with only one leg wrapped. So wrap it all the way around. So knee on top of knee, and then we're going to flex the straight leg foot. So as if you could send the heel, you were going to shoot a rocket out of the heel. You start to feel that line on the back of the leg activate. So we'll be getting a hamstring stretch as well as some opening on the outside of the hips. So from here, press down through the sit bones, lift up through the spine to find some space, And then leading with the heart, making the heart long, we fold forward. This can be a great place for a block or a bolster, somewhere that the head can rest on. And you can grab a hold of the leg, the thigh, maybe the foot to help shimmy yourself forward. And wherever you are, release the back of the neck. I'm quite flexible, but I can, so this won't be for everyone, but I like to just hook my chin over my knee so I can rest it there. And wherever you are, inhale, halfway lift, you'll shimmy forward a little bit more, and then exhale, come down. Be sure to flex the right toes back, so you're getting that activation in the hamstrings as well. And steady inhalation and exhalation. One more big drink of breath in, and exhale, side out. And slowly lift up. We're going to take the top leg out, and we're actually going to turn into pigeon. So we'll just take the top leg out and bring it towards the left side of the mat. And two different options here. So we can take pigeon pose, and we've probably been here quite a bit. It's where the hips will be square. Or we can take deer pose, and this is more of the yin style, so where the back knee will be facing towards the right. Both legs are kind of facing towards the right. So you can take either option. This will be a bit gentler, but it also gets into different areas. So it's not necessarily, doesn't have to necessarily be a gentler pose. It can just be different as well. So maybe you want to explore it wherever you want to go. This can also be a great place for a bolster if you like that extra support, that extra coziness. But you don't need it either. See what feels good. So just different. Traditional yin, actually, this isn't necessarily a yin practice, but traditional yin doesn't have props. Restorative would more. So it kind of depends on where you want to take this. But I do recommend finding a place where you can rest so that you're not holding up the back of the neck. We're wanting to get into the hips in this pose, so we don't want to have our body focusing on holding our neck up, essentially. So we want to be able to release everything as much as we can, even the thoughts in the mind. I'll release my talking here in a moment, and send awareness into the hips and to our exhale. The exhale tells our body to settle and soothe, so we want to put extra emphasis on the exhale. Few more rounds of breath. And slowly begin to come up. Plant the hands, tuck the back toes. We're gonna come into tripod downward dog. Not for long, but lift the left leg up, bend the knee and open the hip, and see if you can feel what it feels like to externally rotate both hips. So both of the upper thighs, as you can kind of imagine somebody like an outer spiral on both upper thighs. So on the top right thigh as well. That might be a new cue. And then square the hips and step on the outside of the left hand. So big step outside of the left hand. Take this off. So what we're going to do is we're going to plant the hands, plant the back knee, and I just want you to wiggle the chest. That's an interesting cue I just gave. But drop the shoulders. Maybe you kind of move in a circular motion. You kind of see and explore. Maybe the hands walk forward making some moves in lizard pose. Now I want you to activate the hips as well. So normally we come in here and we just drop the hips. We want to go there a little bit engaged. So pull the left hip back, pull the right hip forward just slightly. So we're kind of scissoring the thighs and see what it feels like to explore with some engagement. And pick up the back knee. Plant the back heel and then come around to wide leg forward fold, toes in, heels out. Slight bend in the knees and fold forward. Grabbing the ankles if that's available, otherwise just taking the hands down to the ground and feeling an opening in the backs of the legs. A bit of a wiggle. Don't lock out the knees, have a little bit of a bend there so you have a little bit of space to work with. And plant the hands, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, and let's go once more. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Beautiful. You can heel toe the feet together and let's just take a forward fold. Bend the knees, ragdoll. Maybe a little bit of bounce. And slowly bring the booty down. And we'll switch sides. So, left leg out. We'll take a big wrap with the right leg. So shoelace or half Gomukhasana, so we're wrapping the right leg around. Flex the left toes back, press down through the sit bones, lift up through the crown of the head, lift the arms up. And then exhale, pour forward, leading with the heart, so lots of space here. Oof. I feel that in the hamstring for sure. You can even think about pulling back at the left hip crease. See how that feels? So you're kind of like adjusting the hips a bit. And then finding a place to settle in for a moment. I'm gonna wrap the shawl around me. So maybe grabbing for the foot, or maybe resting the forehead on a bolster. Lots of different options here. One more big inhale. Side out. And slowly begin to lift. We'll open up the top leg and we're going to come into pigeon pose or that deer pose. So swing the left leg around. So you don't necessarily have to do the same on either side. We don't start even. We have to remember that. And so finding where you want to explore on this side. I'm gonna come into the deer pose. So I'm kind of, my right hip is down and then both legs are kind of half cocked over to the left side. And then I'm gonna fold forward, maybe come down halfway to begin. Yum, this feels good. And then finding somewhere to stay. Give yourself a reminder to release the jaw. To release any ruminations in the mind. And then to emphasize the exhale. And we'll stay for about 6-7 rounds of breath. And we'll slowly begin to rise. Plant the hands, square the hips wherever you are. We'll come into tripod down dog. So press down into the ground. Right leg comes all the way up and back. Bend the knee and open the hip And then again, bring your awareness to both of the tops of the thighs and externally rotate. Maybe you take some big circles. Whew, got a big pop. And then take a big step, square the hips, and take a big step to the outside of the right hand. Plant the hands down and we'll have another chest wiggle. And by that, I mean dropping the shoulders, kind of exploring some deepening here by moving the upper body. We want to bring some engagement in the hips as well, so scissor the thighs, pull back on the right hip, pull forward on the left hip just slightly, and see what that feels like to move from an engaged space, from a rooted place. A little bit of a stronger architecture. Also protect the joints. Emphasizing the exhale. And slowly push into the hands, lift the back knee, and once more we'll come into a wide leg forward fold. Toes slightly in, heel slightly out, halfway lift, find a bit of wiggle in the hips. And exhale, fold forward. Maybe let's turn the hands and walk them back behind. So you're tiptoeing them away from you and pulling yourself a little bit closer down underneath. Maybe the head is coming closer underneath the hips. Lift the shoulders away from the ears. Wiggle the booty just slightly. And slowly release. You can plant the hands and we'll come back onto the knees. And close your eyes down. You wiggle the hips, do a few spinal circles. So sometimes very often all it takes is just a little bit of attention, a little bit of love. So thank yourself for just giving a little bit of time, and I invite you to take what works and to leave the rest. So if you loved some of these poses and the other ones you're like, I don't know, take the ones that you love and come back to those. The ones that resonate in your body. And continue to make space for yourself, to learn to listen. It's really a lifelong process, so be patient as you learn to listen to your body. And what it's telling us is always shifting, so we're always expecting new messages. And yeah, thank you for letting me be part of your practice, and thank yourself for showing up for you. And thanks for joining us here at YOGATX. We love doing what we're doing and love that you are here doing it with us. Please leave us comments, let us know what you think, anything you'd like more of, and yeah, I'll see you next time on your mat. If you want to learn more about me, ColeChanceYoga.com. That's my name, that's my website, all stuff about me there, and otherwise I'll see you next time on your mat.